The story began with a familiar tremor. Mount St. Helens, the notorious peak in Washington, was waking up once again. There was no violent eruption, just a steady rhythm of low, persistent tremors, subtle but impossible to ignore. At the Cascades Volcano Observatory, scientists watched their monitors flicker with new activity. The earthquakes were tiny, barely noticeable, yet they hinted at powerful forces deep below. Meanwhile, far to the east, another giant was stirring, Yellowstone. Across Wyoming's wild expanse, GPS stations began reporting something shocking. The ground was rising, and it was happening fast. This wasn't the slow, gentle uplift scientists were used to. This was a rapid surge, faster than anything in recent memory. The timing was uncanny. The tremors at St. Helens felt like a warning shot. Two of North America's most powerful volcanoes were showing signs of life, almost in sync. Experts reassured the public that the events weren't connected, but the unease was real. It was a stark reminder. The ground beneath our feet is far from stable. The tremors at Mount St. Helens echoed memories of the catastrophic eruption decades ago. But Yellowstone's silent, rapid swelling? That was a different kind of threat. Quiet, but deeply unsettling. News of these events sent a wave of anxiety through the public. It felt as if the planet itself was sending a warning. First, the shaking of a volcano, infamous for its explosive power. Then, the swelling of a supervolcano. The events of August 25, 2025 have sparked urgent conversations. The forces that shaped this continent are still very much alive. This story isn't just about history. It's about a present that feels more uncertain than ever. The future is demanding our full attention. The Earth is restless, and so are we. This isn't just a geological event, it's a human story. And this story is only just beginning. So what exactly are volcanic tremors, and why should we care? Picture a giant engine beneath the Earth. Fluids and gases constantly shifting through hidden cracks and tunnels. Volcanic tremors are the vibrations from this restless movement, a steady rhythmic shaking that never quite stops. Unlike earthquakes, which hit suddenly and violently, tremors are more like the volcano's background music, a low, persistent hum. Scientists tune into this hum because its pitch and volume reveal secrets from deep underground. As magma pushes its way through solid rock, it creates friction, generating those telltale tremors. These tremors are often the first hints that a volcano is stirring from its slumber. That's exactly what's been happening at Mount St. Helens, tremors signaling fresh, magmatic activity. A quiet volcano is usually a sleeping one. But when it gets noisy, it's time to pay attention. Tremors often come before more obvious signs, like steam vents, gas bursts, or the ground itself swelling. At Mount St. Helens, these tremors meant the volcano's system was gearing up again. These aren't just scientific curiosities, they're crucial early warnings that can save lives. Before the 1980 eruption, weeks of tremors gave officials precious time to prepare and evacuate, preventing disaster. That's why every tremor is carefully logged and studied. Each tremor is the opening line in a story that could unfold in many different ways. While the tremors at St. Helens are a local concern, they're also a reminder to keep a close watch on Yellowstone, because when a supervolcano like Yellowstone stirs, the consequences could be far greater. Yellowstone is more than just a breathtaking national park. It's actually one of the planet's most powerful and dynamic volcanic systems. Instead of a towering peak, Yellowstone is a massive, sunken caldera stretching nearly 45 miles wide. This enormous crater was created when a supereruption emptied the magma chamber, causing the ground to collapse. A supervolcano is defined by its ability to blast out more than 1,000 cubic kilometers of material in a single eruption. That's at least 1,000 times more than the 1980 Mount St. Helens eruption. Yellowstone has unleashed 3 of these super eruptions in its ancient past. The driving force, a colossal plume of hot rock rising from deep inside the earth, feeding 2 enormous magma chambers. The upper chamber, lurking just a few miles beneath the surface, is the most concerning. All of Yellowstone's famous geysers, hot springs, and mud pots are powered by this underground heat. The park's stunning beauty is forever linked to its underlying danger. The real question isn't whether Yellowstone will erupt again, but when, and just how massive that eruption might be. Yellowstone's landscape has always seemed to inhale and exhale, its ground gently rising and falling as underground forces shift. But lately, that gentle motion has sped up. Ground uplift is happening at a startling pace. Devices that once tracked tiny changes over months are now picking up those same shifts in just weeks. This sudden swelling, known as ground deformation, is a classic warning sign of volcanic activity. Across the park, GPS stations are constantly recording every movement, pinpointing exactly where and how much the Earth is rising. Right now, the most dramatic uplift is centered on the Caldera, directly above the shallow magma chamber. Pressure is mounting below the surface, and this time it's impossible to ignore. Picture a giant balloon inflating beneath your feet, molten rock, scalding water, and gas all pushing upward. The quicker the ground lifts, the faster that underground pressure builds. This rapid change hints that something new is stirring in Yellowstone's volcanic system. With St. Helens rumbling and Yellowstone's ground surging upward, the whole region feels on edge. The recent activity at St. Helens has everyone watching Yellowstone even more closely. When the latest Yellowstone data arrived, it felt like the stakes had just been raised. What was once a slow, steady rhythm has become a sudden, urgent gasp. Is this just a temporary surge or the beginning of something much bigger? Right now, no one can say for sure. The race is on for scientists to crack the mystery behind Yellowstone's rapidly rising ground. The leading explanation? Magma is on the move. A fresh surge of molten rock is being forced into the shallow chamber, ramping up pressure and lifting the Earth above. This phenomenon, known as magmatic intrusion, is a textbook warning sign that an eruption could be brewing. Another possibility? The hydrothermal system sitting above the magma chamber. If its natural seal breaks, superheated water and steam could accumulate, swelling the ground and even triggering explosive hydrothermal blasts. There's also a third theory. As new magma heats the surrounding rock and hydrothermal system, it releases volcanic gases that can quickly build up dangerous pressure. No matter the cause, all signs point to a system that's becoming more pressurized and more unstable. To get answers, scientists are deploying seismic sensors, gas detectors, and satellite radar to monitor every shift in signal. Is this just a surge of hot water and gas? Or is fresh, eruptible magma on the rise? The answer could mean the difference between a minor event or the warning signs of something far more catastrophic. Imagine if the unimaginable happened. A super eruption at Yellowstone would rewrite the history books. The entire 45-mile-wide caldera could collapse, launching a towering plume of ash, rock, and gas high into the atmosphere. The immediate surroundings would be obliterated by pyroclastic flows, searing avalanches of ash and toxic gases. This destruction could stretch for 100 miles in every direction. Far beyond the blast, a thick layer of ash would blanket much of the United States, crushing buildings, polluting water, and ruining farmland. Even distant cities would be choked by ashfall, turning daily life upside down across the nation. On a global scale, sulfur dioxide and other gases would spark a volcanic winter, cooling the planet and threatening food supplies. The last time Yellowstone erupted on this scale, it spewed enough debris to bury the entire state of Texas under 5 feet of ash. If it happened today, it would be the most catastrophic disaster humanity has ever faced. Fortunately, the odds are tiny, about 1 in 730,000 each year. Smaller eruptions or hydrothermal blasts are much more likely. Still, the recent rapid ground uplift reminds us to stay alert to every possibility. With so much at stake, we can't afford to ignore the warning signs. So what's our game plan? Constant vigilant monitoring is our strongest shield. The Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, an alliance of leading agencies, operates one of the most sophisticated volcano monitoring systems on the planet. Seismometers pick up every tremor, GPS units track even the slightest ground shifts, and satellites capture the swelling landscape from above. Specialized sensors also sniff out volcanic gases, giving us vital clues about what's happening underground. All this information streams in live, allowing scientists to build a real-time, detailed picture of the volcano's activity. To keep everyone informed, the observatory uses a color-coded alert system, an easy way to communicate risk to both the public and officials. Deciding to raise the alert level isn't taken lightly. It's a move with serious, far-reaching effects. The public's job? Stay updated through trusted sources like the USGS and YVO. Open, honest communication helps stop rumors and prevent panic. In a world of instant headlines, relying on expert guidance matters more than ever. Thanks to their dedication, what could be a disaster becomes a crisis we can handle through early warnings and smart preparation. Alarming headlines from Yellowstone can shake us, but fear isn't a plan. Being ready is. Even though a super eruption is unlikely, the recent activity reminds us that Yellowstone is very much alive. Federal agencies have robust strategies in place for disasters, including the rare chance of a major Yellowstone event. For families, readiness means having supplies, a way to communicate, and knowing how to evacuate if needed. Knowledge beats anxiety. Preparation puts you in control. It's important to remember, Yellowstone has experienced ground rising and falling many times without erupting. What we're seeing now could simply be another natural cycle. Today's technology gives scientists tools to monitor Yellowstone like never before, offering early warnings our ancestors never dreamed of. Yellowstone teaches us humility, reminding us we're visitors on a restless planet. We can't control the Earth's movements, but we can observe, learn, and adapt. By supporting science and staying informed, we can live alongside this sleeping giant. The tremors and swelling aren't signs of disaster, they're reminders to pay attention, stay alert, stay prepared, and always respect the powerful forces that shape our world.